Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to access and navigate the 2026 Collaborative Summer Library Program Unearth a Story themed manual and artwork website. My name is Beth. I'm the Youth Services Consultant at the Indiana State Library, and I'm also the Indiana State Representative for CSLP, and I'm your point of contact for the program at the Indiana State Library. CSLP membership and access to the online manual and artwork are provided to all Indiana public libraries by the Indiana State Library, thanks to funding from the IMLS. All right, so to begin accessing the manual, you're going to visit the CSLP website at www.cslpreads.org. And then at the top of the screen, you're going to go along this menu bar to Manual Downloads, and you're going to select 2026 Unearth a Story. That brings you to this landing page, this home page, which, by the way, you can get back to through this little home button up at the top. And what's noteworthy on here? Well, the new and noteworthy section is noteworthy. So here you'll find articles like this one about Digby, who is the mascot for this summer, a little blueberry colored triceratops. He is super cute, and you'll see him throughout some of the items in the store and in the manual. And then I also wanted to point out that this is one way you can find the summer program archive. So you can access back through the 2020 program year here, and you'll just need the same manual code that you used to log into this year's manual to access those. So speaking of the manual code, it does require a different code every year. So the one that you have from last year won't work, unfortunately. You do need to get a new one from me again this year. That code was sent out to directors in early October and was also announced on the listservs with an option to request that I send you the code in early October as well. So keep an eye out for that. And you can also always email me directly if you need to. All right, so to actually find the manual itself, you're going to go to Full Manual. And this is the point at which you'll be asked to enter your password or your manual code. So I'm going to go ahead and insert my code. All right, and then from there, you can select the 2026 Unearth a Story manual. And when you are in here, it will download it as a PDF, so you can scroll through the entire thing here on your monitor. I'm going to go down to the table of contents. I know it's a little small for you. Let's see if I can zoom it in a touch. So you can see this is by chapter. So chapter is the themed chapters, themed way to look at things. So you've got Dino Play, you've got Fresh Dirt, you've got Digging for Information, Paleontology, and Archaeology. And then I also wanted to point out that we have a special chapter this year dedicated to celebrating America's 250th. So if you're a library that plans to highlight that, you can find some resources for it there. You'll also find info about partnership programs and all of those standalone printables that relate to the program activities that are earlier in the manual. Those are pulled out separately, so you can just print them and you can browse them on their own here too. And speaking of, you should be able to, in most browsers, click directly on whatever interests you, and it should take you directly to that item. And of course, I'm zoomed in here. Let's zoom out a little so you can see the whole thing. Also of note, you can download and print it here. You can also download the entire manual right here underneath the image, and then you're free to save it to your computer or print it as you wish. Okay, we are going to scroll back up here. There's a few other things I wanted to highlight real fast. First of all, under resources, if you're into Pinterest, they do have their Pinterest linked from here, and they have already started updating it. So keep an eye on that because they tend to add more as the program year progresses and we get closer to summer. If you are someone who likes to look things up by chapter and you only want to look at that, it helps you to narrow it down, makes it less overwhelming. This is where you can go to find those chapters to only download each chapter at a time. It's especially helpful here for the printables, I think, so check that out. By material types, this is where you will find, so I'm clicking on 2026 material type. This is where you will find the book lists that are also found in the manual, pulled out for you if you just want those, as well as the font guide. So if you, as a library, like to print your own publicity and things, and you want to make sure that the fonts are matching the actual program font for cohesiveness, then this is where you can go to find that. All right, and then one last thing is the graphic resources. You can click on 2026 graphics, and this is where you'll find all of the artwork. So there's banners for Facebook, so those will be the kind of more long rectangular. We've got the full-size posters here. That font guide is also found here. The program images, so this would be all of the clip art. And then Unearth a Story slogans, they're text versions of the slogan. So it just says Unearth a Story, but they're in different colors and different styles. So let's click on the program images to take a look at what is involved here. And you can see at the top, right at the very tippity top, they have a place where you can download either the JPEG or the PNG versions of all of the files you'll find below here. And so if you download it, it should download to your computer in a zip file, so a compressed file. And then once you get it to your computer, you can open it up and look at all the different pieces of art. I also like to point out, though, that if you just need one or two images, you can always come here and you can right-click, and then you can save the image to your computer, or you can copy it and paste it into whatever you're working on. All right, a few last things. First of all, the product catalog for 2026 is here. This is also a PDF format, so you can, if you're somebody who just likes to see everything in front of you visually, you can always print this out if you wish, or download it to your computer and check it out. Or you can go straight to the CSLP store, which is also linked from the top of this site. Let's go there real fast. Just a heads up, CSLP is a nonprofit, and they use the store sales along with the membership fees to sustain the program. So they're not in it to make money. I just like to bring this up so that libraries are aware that that's where the funding for CSLP primarily comes from, is through these sales. So if you're interested, great. There are lots of different items here you can browse through and check it out. And I'll just do a quick scroll so you can see. There are also the Libraries Are Life kind of general any time of year artwork there on some of the items, so you can check that out. And then I wanted to point out down at the bottom that if you need a product customized, like if you'd like your library logo on your t-shirts, for example, there's a custom order form here. So you just click on this, it opens the form, you enter as much information as possible, and then they will get back to you with a quote if it's something that they are able to provide for you. So definitely check that out if that is something that your library would like. All right, this concludes the tutorial. Indiana Library staff, please feel free to reach out to me, Beth Yates, at the Indiana State Library if you have any questions about this or about summer reading in general. And I wish you all happy planning over the next 9 months or so.